Hi, everyone. My name is Michelle Stevenson. I'm a special agent with the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, and I am in Omaha, Nebraska right now. Our field office covers all of Iowa and all of Nebraska, which is why I'm coming to you today from Omaha. The FBI is a federal law enforcement agency. We are charged with investigating over 300 federal criminal violations and getting people prosecuted who violate those. We have 56 field offices across the United States. We have about 37,000 employees around the world. And every day our mission is to protect the American people and uphold the Constitution. I know that this presentation is really geared towards our STEAM majors, and I really want to spend some time talking to you about how valuable STEAM majors are at the FBI. Every single case that comes to our doorstep, whether that be a terrorism case, a cyber case, a white collar crime case, a drug or gang case, every single one of those is really a problem that needs to be solved. We are in the business of problem solving. And so we find that our science, our technology, our engineering, our math, our arts majors are all really good problem solvers. And so STEAM majors fit in very, very well at the FBI. The FBI has sort of two sides to their employment opportunities. The first side is our professional staff employees. These are folks who are not agents. I know most of you probably have seen a TV show or two with the FBI, and pretty much everybody on the screen has a gun and a badge and they're running around putting bad guys in jail. We have about 14,000 agents of our 37,000 employees, and the rest of our staff are professional staff employees. A large cadre of those are actually STEAM majors. That could be anybody from folks that work in our laboratory at Quantico, Virginia, true straight up scientists, chemists, biologists. We have metallurgists. We have folks that are researching DNA. And we have agents and professional staff that are in the lab working on those kinds of cases. You're going to see a video in a few minutes from a member of our evidence response team. She is an arts major. She was a journalism major and is a member of our evidence response team. And she's going to show you some of the really interesting things that our evidence response team does. Many of the folks that are on evidence response teams around the United States all have a STEAM background of some sort. We also employ STEAM majors in our engineering research facility at Quantico, Virginia. So those folks are responsible for finding new, inventive, and creative ways for us to do our jobs. And whether that means they're finding a way to create a smaller maybe microphone or camera that we can use in an undercover situation. They are all engineers by background and are problem solvers at the end of the day who are working with our case agents in the field in an effort to try to get to an easier way for us to do things. Then in the field offices, out in the field, we have STEAM majors all across our cadre of employees. Our professional staff employees, we have a lot of folks on our cyber squads across the United States that have a computer science background, that have a cybersecurity, network administration, information assurance type background. Those individuals are using those skills on a daily basis to help work on cyber cases that might involve hacking. It might involve a ransomware case. It might involve a denial of service case or a data breach. So we have case agents who have a computer science background that are the case agents working those cases. We also have computer scientists who are looking into the mechanics of the hack. How did that hack happen? Then we also have our information assurance folks, our network security, network admin folks who are looking at the data loss. So there's a variety of ways that a cyber background or technology background can fit into just frontline operations on the investigative side of the house. So the FBI is really, really full of folks that really come from a STEAM background. I want to show you a video that our evidence response team put together for you that you can really get a feel for how those folks use STEAM every time they're out on a crime scene. One of the things that you'll learn from my colleague Lavone is that this evidence response team is not a full-time position at any of our offices. It's what we call a collateral duty. So when you meet Lavone, she's the photographer here in our office. She's also assigned to our evidence response team. But we have agents, we have other professional staff employees who may have more of an administrative role in the office that are all part of our evidence response team, all putting together those STEAM skills in an effort to help us solve cases. So let me play that video for you. And then I have a little bit of information I want to share with you about ways that you can get jobs at the FBI, and really importantly, the things that you need to do between right now and the time you might apply that will help you set yourself up for success.
Hi, my name's Lavone. I'm the photographer for the Omaha Division of the FBI. I've been with them for 28 years. As part of my duties, I am also on the Evidence Response Team. The Evidence Response Team, or ERT as we call it, is comprised of 16 team members all across Nebraska and Iowa. Part of our duties as ERT is to go out on crime scenes, search warrants, and help with whatever we can to collect evidence on those scenes. We are in our office right now, you might say. This is our ERT truck. It's only a couple of years old, and as you can see, it contains all of our supplies that we would need to be out on a scene. The majority of our scenes are crime scenes where we help either local or state agencies, or we can do federal crime scenes. Federal crime scenes would consist of bank robberies or crime scenes on the Indian reservations mainly. We also help state and local whenever they feel the need to help, if they are low on supplies or if they don't have the manpower to handle a large crime scene. So today I'm going to show you some of the things we've worked on over the years. We're also going to show you some of the tools that we use during our crime scenes. I'm going to start with some of our older scenes. Like I said, we've done a lot of homicides over the years. About 20 years ago, we did a crime scene. It was the recovery of 4 bodies up in Mason City, Iowa. It was part of a drug deal gone bad. This is one of the photos that I took during that crime scene when we recovered the bodies. It's a skeleton, as you can see. There's tape around the mouth and a sock around the mouth. That is how we were told we were finding the bodies, and that's what we did. We recovered all 4 skeletons that day. The gentleman that killed them ended up on death row and was recently executed on death row back in, I believe, January it was. Another thing I mentioned that we do are bank robberies. This is a footprint that we took during a bank robbery scene. A lot of times the bank robbers will jump over the counter and leave prints on the counter that you can't see with your naked eye. What I used here was called a RUVIS, or a reflective ultraviolet system, and that was able to help me see the footprint and identify the shoe. These are just some of the techniques that we use. Footprints, fingerprints we recover. We don't try to make any decisions out on the field as to what has happened. We simply collect the evidence and then send it into the laboratory at headquarters to be processed. This was another scene we did. Another tool that we use is called sifting, where we take the dirt, we sift it through mesh wire, and then we can find maybe small bones or small pieces of evidence that might be lost in the dirt otherwise. We do have a technique set up here for processing fingerprints that I'm going to show you. As I said, we do footprints and fingerprints. So this is a footprint that we did. As you can see, it's a gel lift is what we call it. And we just put that down on the dust of the print and lift that up, and then we can cover it with this piece of plastic, and that protects it when we send it into headquarters for processing. Over here, we have a tile. We do a lot of training. It's part of our required course that we do quarterly training. We also have to go to a basic class back at headquarters that's 2 weeks long. We do numerous advanced courses. Those include arson classes, photography classes, crime scene, and then we can do additional classes on our own if we'd like to. So what I'm going to show here is a latent print class that we took and how you would lift a latent print. This is a tile that we've already put some fingerprints on, and as you can see here, you really can't see them on the tile. How we would process that is we would take powder, which I have here, it's a black powder because you want a contrasting color. We have a fiber brush here that we dip lightly in the powder. You just kind of twirl it to get the excess off, and then you just lightly brush across the tile, and you see the fingerprints start to appear. You have to be very careful not to use too much powder, or you won't be able to see the ridges on it. So what we use is a camel hair brush, which I don't have here right now, that will take some of the excess off if you did over powder that. Now there you can see a good print. Part of my job as photographer is to photograph all the evidence that we recover on a scene. This would be considered evidence, so I would photograph this so that when this goes into headquarters, I can also send the photos and they can use those if the prints aren't good enough. So now we have our fingerprints. Now we need to preserve those prints to send into headquarters to hopefully be identified. The way we do that is we have several different ways, but this is another type of lift that we use. It's kind of like a piece of tape. You pull this piece off, set that aside. We use what's called a U shape to put it down on the tile. Smooth it out to get the bubbles out. You want to clean the print as possible. And then you lift that back up and you can see the prints on there. Now what we can do is we just flip that over, and now those prints are preserved to send into headquarters. So that's just one of the tools that we use when we're on scene. Other tools that we use, like I mentioned, was the Rufus, the ultraviolet light that helps us identify prints that we can't see under the naked eye. We also have different tools that we can use for recovering prints, say in snow or sand. We have a spray that will color the sand or color the snow and freeze it in place so that it won't melt. And then we can lift that print using, I'm going to reach back here. This is called dental stone. And all we do is we mix some water with that. It's just like what your dentist would use to make a mold of your mouth. We mix that with some water and we can pour that into the mold, and then that will recover your footprint. So when you can't do a dust print like this, you can do the mold of the print. Oh, I mentioned before that we have to do a lot of training, and one of the trainings that is most interesting to all of us and is usually a tough class to get into is what is called the human body recovery class. We affectionately call it the Body Farm. It's down in Tennessee, and it is a couple of acres of land where they have planted bodies or put bodies out, and then they are recovered to show how they decompose under certain conditions. I do have one photo here I wanted to show you that was taken at the Body Farm. The FBI is allotted openings for approximately 20 students every year to go to the Body Farm. During that time, we learn the proper way to recover a body, whether it is above ground, below ground, whether it is decomposed, if it is what we would call a fresh body, and the different tools that we would use to recover those to the best of our ability. You spend 1 week out there, there's training in classroom, and then you spend 2 days actually digging up the body. At the end of that 2 days, you replace that body with a new body, and then the next year the next team comes in and goes through the entire training again. And one of the classes recently added over the years has been post-blast training. Because of 9/11 and the Boston bombing, we've realized that going out on bombing scenes is becoming more prevalent. So a post-blast class is now a required class for ERT. What they do is they will explode a bomb, and we have to go out and recover the pieces of the bomb and try to figure out how it was put together and what caused it. Now, out on a scene, that won't be part of our job to determine how it was made, but we do need to know how to collect all those different components to send into headquarters so we know what we're looking for out there in the field. So that was just a quick synopsis of what the ERT team does. Like I said, it's collateral duty, so we all have to be on call 24/7. We can't always all go, but we try to get a full team whenever we can to be able to assist whatever division we're helping. We might be working here in Omaha, or we could get called to any other division in the United States. So you have to keep in mind, if you want to be on ERT, that it is a time-consuming at times. You could have long days, and you're going to deal with some disturbing scenes at times, but it's also very rewarding because you are helping to solve probably a very major crime. So if anybody's interested, feel free to contact our office and try to get more information on what you can do to become an agent or a support staff person and hopefully get on ERT someday.
All right. Well, I really hope that you all enjoyed the video and got a little of information about our evidence response team and really kind of, I think, the heart and soul of what STEAM majors come to us for. I will tell you that if you asked any one of the 37,000 FBI employees around the world what they love most about their job, they would tell you that no day is the same. So every day that we come to work, we all have an idea of what we think we're going to do that day. And then something happens and we end up sort of having to pivot and move on to something else. It is a really big testament to our employees that we're all very flexible and adaptable and are able to do that, much like Lavone could get called to a crime scene right now and have to pack her bags and go. So flexibility is a really important piece to us, as well as those critical thinking or problem solving skills. But none of the 37,000 employees that we employ right now would be here today if they had done something in their past that would preclude them from being hired. And because I know that you all are in middle school and you have several sort of important milestones and years coming in the next few years with high school and college, I really want to just take a couple minutes to tell you the importance of making good choices, of choosing good friends, of staying out of trouble, of making really, really smart choices. So we cannot hire folks that have done drugs. So you can't have smoked marijuana or used marijuana anywhere in the world 3 years prior to the date of application. You cannot have used any other illegal drug 10 years prior to the date of application. We also look at folks who are misusing and abusing prescription medications. So narcotic pain medications, ADHD and ADD based medications. So, you know, if you have a condition that you have a prescription, then by all means take your medicine. But if you don't, you shouldn't be taking someone else's. That is something that will keep people from getting hired here. Every employee has to take a polygraph. So we make sure that our employees have integrity and are honest. And so I would tell you that as you're facing some of these dilemmas that you're going to be facing in the next several years, it's really important to sort of try your best to look the person that's asking you to do something that you know is not right. Just look them in the eye and be brave. One of our mottos is bravery, fidelity, bravery, and integrity. And so we really want folks who are brave. And it does take a lot of courage to stand up to someone who you think is really your very best friend and they're asking you to do something you know you shouldn't do. It takes a lot of courage to say no to them. But I will tell you this, almost 100% of the time, folks that come to us and apply when they're in their mid-20s and have done something really dumb that they wish they could have gotten back that they did maybe in high school, I always ask them, who were you with? And they say, oh, it was my best friend, Johnny. I had to do it because Johnny wanted me to go off and do this. And then I always ask them, where is Johnny now? And 100% of the time they say, I don't know, I'm not friends with Johnny anymore. So the person standing in front of you in a freshman year in high school or senior year or freshman year in college saying, hey, dude, let's go do this, is probably not going to be your friend in 5 or 6 or 10 years, but could be the person that keeps you from getting a really, really cool job. So be brave, be courageous, stand up to folks like that. Make sure that you're making really good choices. The other piece that we look at a lot is social media, and this has become an even bigger issue for students your age and beyond that have had access to social media basically their entire lives. We are going to look at all of your social media sites. So I would tell you to use the grandmother rule when it comes to posting things. So if you're ready to put something out on the internet, think to yourself, if I sent this to my grandma, what would she think? And if the answer is she would really not like it, then you probably should not put that out on the internet. You cannot get things back once you've launched them into the internet. So please make really responsible choices in the things that you are putting out on the internet so that you too can someday come here with your STEAM skills and get a really, really great job. There is all kinds of information for you all to go and do some research on at our FBIjobs.gov employment website. So if you have not been out there, I would strongly encourage you to head out to FBIjobs.gov and do a little research on all the different types of jobs and different job opportunities that we have so that you can start setting yourself up now for a potential future at the FBI. Thank you so much for joining me today, and take care.